They fired me for underperforming. 6 months later, they spent more than 10 times their entire budget doing the exact job they said I wasn't good enough to finish. And my manager lost her job because of it. This happened back in the early 2010s, when content creation wasn't fast, automated, or cheap. Producing even one decent video could take days, sometimes weeks. So when I was hired as a content creator for a university trying to build an online presence, I treated it like a rare opportunity. The pay wasn't great, but I wanted experience, growth, and a chance to prove myself. On my second day, my manager called me into her office. She smiled. Too much. She slid a document across the desk like it was a trophy. It was my KPI, 85 videos, each 3 to 10 minutes long, to be completed in 1 year, by me alone. I remember staring at that number thinking it had to be a joke. This wasn't just filming. This was scripting, casting, producing, shooting, editing, sound design, and even composing music because they refused to pay for licensed tracks. On top of that, I had to use my own equipment because theirs couldn't even handle basic editing. I explained, politely, that this wasn't realistic. She smiled and said, "Just try. If the videos are good, I won't focus on quantity." That one sentence convinced me to stay. And I meant it. For the first month, everything was smooth. She was supportive, encouraging, almost proud of my work. Then she found out I was a smoker. Not from me, from someone else. A colleague facepalmed when I mentioned it and quietly warned me. She hates smokers. She thinks they're lazy. She's gotten people fired for it before. Overnight, the atmosphere changed. Suddenly, I was being watched. If I came back from a break smelling like smoke, it was noted. If I arrived 5 minutes late, even after staying 4 hours late the night before, it was documented. If I didn't respond to messages during my break, it was unprofessional. I stopped feeling like an employee and started feeling like a liability. Still, I worked harder. 6 days a week, more than 60 hours, late nights, missed weekends. I told myself it would pay off. And it did, at least on paper. My videos started outperforming everything the university had ever uploaded. More views, more engagement, real growth. People were actually watching. 5 months in, I was called into the director's office. My stomach dropped the moment I walked in. My manager was already there. She wasn't angry. She wasn't nervous. She looked pleased. The director said she was disappointed. I'd only completed 30 videos. I explained everything. The workload, the hours, the fact that I was doing the work of an entire team, and the results the videos were delivering. I even repeated my manager's own words. Quality matters more than quantity. The director didn't care. The KPI was 85 videos. And since we were already halfway through the year, it was better to cut the cord early. I was being fired. Then my manager leaned forward and said, "We'll just hire a professional production house to finish the job." The director hesitated, then nodded. And in that exact moment, something clicked in my head. One of my responsibilities had been maintaining a database of production houses, names, phone numbers, emails. My manager had no industry contacts. She relied completely on that list. So before I cleared my desk, I quietly edited it. Every phone number, wrong. Every email, scrambled. All of them, except one. That one belonged to a production house where a friend of mine worked as a junior director. I called him immediately, explained everything, and told him I had a plan that would fast-track his career and pay both of us very well. He said yes instantly. Within 2 days, his company was invited to pitch. I coached him line by line, what phrases to use, what concerns to address, what language would win over my former manager. I gave him a complete playbook. The pitch went perfectly. The director and my former manager were stunned by how well this production house seemed to understand their vision. They signed the contract immediately. What they didn't understand was the cost. Hiring a production house wasn't just expensive, it was devastating. Each video cost 2 to 3 times my monthly salary. But the work was fast. They produced 50 videos in just 4 months. The bill? More than 100 months of my salary. Meanwhile, I quietly collected my finder's fee, about 15 months of pay. I used part to travel, part to invest in my education. I moved on, thinking the story ended there. Then I got a call from a former colleague, the same one who warned me about the smoking issue. She told me my former manager had been fired, completely blindsided. The director had been torn apart by leadership. The project had originally been approved with a modest budget, roughly a year and a half of my salary. They had exceeded it by more than 10 times. Desperate to prove she hadn't made a mistake firing me, my former manager approved massive spending without authorization. That desperation cost her everything. In the end, I lost a job, but gained freedom. My friend got promoted to full director, and the people who tried to push me out paid for it themselves. Sometimes revenge isn't loud. Sometimes it's quiet, calculated, and fueled by letting people do exactly what they insisted they could do better than you.